Hello, this is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose Dylan, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, or iHeartRadio. This is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose Dylan. Alright. Today's not going to be that long a podcast, but, I do have that one segment that lasts like 20 minutes, so it might be longer than I expect. But only about, 8 segments. That's not even close to what I did yesterday. So, we're going to start off with my normal Thursday Night Football. My Thursday Night Football review, I guess you can call it. Alright. So, normally I like to believe that you cannot let your worst moment define you. Seems like the Falcons are doing that very well. They're doing a great job at letting their worst moment define them. Losing to the Pats in the Super Bowl, they just stifled them. 25-zip. And the Pats, their defense is damn good. That's a fact. And what we learned last night was that the Falcons might make the playoffs as a 7 seed, but they are not going anywhere. And really none of the guys that are going to be the 7 seed are going to go anywhere, but I don't think the Falcons are even going to make the playoffs at this point. They're just playing really poorly. There was a point in the second half, and I don't know if this is really good for the Pats defense or really bad for the Falcons offense. Probably a little bit of both, but there was a point in the second half where the Falcons had more penalties than first downs. That is a good and bad thing. Great for the Pats defense. Horrible for the Falcons offense. But the Pats defense has been really good. They have not allowed a point since the opening drive against Cleveland a week ago. Their defense has more touchdowns than points allowed in that stretch. And in the last 2 games, they've outscored opponents 70-7. That is crazy. And the Falcons, on the other hand, have been outscored 68-3 in the last 2 games. All right. And I would not be shocked to see this Patriots team. I talked about it a few weeks ago. I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to say they're going to make the Super Bowl. But they're going to make a run. I've, in the past, said they're going to win maybe the wild card. They might win the wild card game, and that will be it. They're not making it past the second round. But now, I might stretch that out to they might make it to the AFC Championship, and they're most likely going to make it past. And they're definitely going to make it past the first round. I told you, Belichick carves up young coaches. He did it to another guy yesterday, Arthur Smith. He's a first-year coach, and he just carved him up. Let's look at the teams they're probably going to be playing in the playoffs, because the Pats are the 5 seed right now. Titans. They do have an experienced quarterback. And their coach is Mike Vrabel, who's in his 4th year coaching. So that could be a potential challenge. And the Titans did beat the Patriots 4 years ago in Vrabel's rookie year when they still had Tom Brady. So this Titans team could be a potential This could definitely be a tough match for the Pats, but we have to think of, so if they were to make I think their ceiling is the AFC Championship right now. And if that's their ceiling, that means there's at least one team in the AFC better than them. I think that's the Titans. Now you got the Bills. They have an experienced coach, but their quarterback is 25 or something. Josh Allen's 25. But I'll still say that the Bills are better than the Pats. I don't think the Pats have a chance at beating them. So those are two teams. Titans and Bills. I don't think the Pats will beat them in any game. But now we got the Ravens. This is another tough call. The Ravens have a young quarterback, but they have a coach that has almost as much experience coaching as Belichick, John Harbaugh. So it's tough. I think the Pats could definitely win this game. If they were to go against the Ravens head-to-head, they can definitely win. But that's a tough call. And then the one other team that is ahead of the Pats is actually the Chiefs. Again, another coach that has almost as much experience coaching as Belichick has with Andy Reid. And they have a young quarterback. That's another toss-up in my opinion. So, for the 4 teams ahead of the Pats, there's 2 teams I don't think they'll beat and 2 teams they have a shot at beating. So, I would not rule them out in any sense of the matter. All I'm going to say, there was a quick thought in my head last night. Last night I kind of thought about it. I was, but this morning, I was watching highlights, and I saw the Pats get 3 straight picks in the matter of 4 minutes. Alright. So a thought that occurred to me was, what if we see a Bucs vs. Pats Super Bowl? How awesome would that be? And it would be even more awesome if the Pats won. Because last year, we were all saying, Brady carried Belichick, If Belichick wins this year against Brady, what are we gonna say then? What's the next thought on that relationship right there? But as good as the Pats have been, I can't credit a team without discrediting the other team, or discrediting the team without crediting another team. So, I am going to move on to my discrediting of the Falcons. They've been playing pretty poorly lately. And they had 3 of the worst interceptions I've ever seen yesterday. In the matter of 4 minutes. 3 different quarterbacks, 3 interceptions in 4 minutes. If Josh Rosen is getting into an NFL game, if Josh Rosen is getting into an actual NFL game, there's a problem. All right? There is a problem. That's not good. That is pretty bad. All right? The last time a team went through 3 different quarterbacks and they threw 3 picks was 20 years ago. All right? But that was just a bad performance by the Falcons all around. But we also have to credit the Pats. They did very well, too. By the way, Mac Jones is 7-4. The quarterbacks drafted ahead of him are the 3 quarterbacks drafted ahead of him, or 4 actually. Fields, Lance, Lawrence, and Wilson are a combined record of like 5-18. So Jones has more wins than them as an individual than they do combined. That's pretty bad. So today it was revealed that LeBron is coming back tonight, and all the Lakers must be thinking is, amen. All right. The fact that, like they just, the Lakers, they are who we thought they would be, without LeBron. And I said this yesterday. The reason they're not, their chemistry isn't working and they're not, together, and they're not fitting well together is because they don't have their veteran leader. It doesn't matter how stacked you are, you need a veteran leader to kind of guide that team in the right direction. When you don't have that, your team, any team, no matter how stacked they are, could get significantly worse. So, I was not shocked at all that the Lakers were a little rough around the edges without LeBron in the lineup. But hopefully, who do they got tonight? The Celtics? Okay. They should be able to win that game. If they don't, I would be concerned, but I don't know. I just gotta see how the game folds out, because normally you would be concerned considering how they lost to the Bucks, but I saw some positives in that loss, so we'll see how they lose to the Celtics, but I think they should win that game. Alright. So I think one thing we should talk about is the fact that Matt Ryan is probably on his way out. I believe he'll make the Hall of Fame. He did make it to a Super Bowl and was about, 15 minutes away from winning one. And he is a former MVP. So he's had some very high points in his career. But in these last few years, he's grown more and more inconsistent. He has weeks where he's throwing for 400 yards and, 4 touchdowns, along with 2 interceptions, though. There's those kind of average weeks, and there's the weeks where he's just bad. Like last night. When what was his tally last night? I know it wasn't good. He had, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, 153 yards. He has nights like that. And then he has nights where he's almost flawless. 4 touchdowns, 300 yards, no picks, It's just he's growing more and more inconsistent as he gets older. He's on his way out. You can tell by basically how much they're changing, whether or not they're on their way out. Brady hasn't missed a beat. He's not on his way out, unfortunately. Even though he's 44, he's not on his way out. Matt Ryan is. He's growing more and more consistent. I got a quick question, though, for Sunday. For the Jets. Why is Joe Flacco starting, exactly? Why not start Mike White? Flacco went 2-6 in Denver as a starting quarterback, then 0-4 with the Jets last year. So you're going to start with the same guy that went 0-4 with you last year, and someone who's gone 2-10 in his last 12 starts? Why?